all have those great-grandparents and grandparents that at some point start off a story with the phrase, back in the day, or when I was a kid. Then they ramble on about how they had to work at young ages, how money was always a struggle, even how they slept forward to a bed and skunk grease magically solved everything. But then they go on to say how lucky our generation is, that we didn't have to endure the hard times of the past, like the fear of the nuclear war in the 50s, or the hardships of the Dust Bowl. And the truth is, we don't. We don't face the problem of being in constant fear of not being able to fulfill the basic acts of life, such as breathing, eating, or even taking a step. And you may ask yourself why that is. It's because conservation has saved us from another Dust Bowl. The Dust Bowl of the 1930s lasted about a decade, in which during this time the land was ravaged with severe droughts, causing the crops to die out and great dust storms to appear, affecting 75% of the country and effectively hurting 27 states. Dust storms blocked out the sun, sandbanks like snowbanks appeared. 100 years of topsoil buildup was blown away in a matter of minutes, leaving behind only barren clay. As John Steinbeck wrote in his 1939 novel, The Grapes of Wrath, the kids are hungry. We've got no place to live, like ants, scurrying for work, for food. These people were faced with many challenges in their lives, such as not having a roof over their heads, enough to eat, or even a way to survive. So when we take a look at how conservation has saved us from another Dust Bowl, there are many ways. But a few of the main are no-till farming, the Crp program, and irrigation. Enter with me now into the 1920s, where farming was to till everything up, even the dry areas. Tilling was allowed and used to dig up the soil, shape the weeds, and even allow for irrigation. But this led to unfavorable acts such as seen in the Dust Bowl. The modern idea of no-till farming started in the 1940s. This was used as an agricultural technique to increase the amount of water that went into the soil and stayed in the soil. By doing this, it eliminated the chance of soil erosion. It also allowed for soil biological fertility, which makes soils more resistant. By putting this in place, it has stopped us from pulling up unnecessary ground and can be more profitable if done correctly. It has also helped minimize fuel and labor costs, which is always a win. Now let's take a step away from the no-till farming and look at the second way that we have avoided another Dust Bowl, and that would be the Crp program, or better known as the Conservation Reserve Program that took out many marginal farmlands. This program has many purposes, such as helping farmers reduce the chance of soil erosion, enhance water supplies, and even reduce the damages caused by floods and other natural disasters. Even in times of need, the Crp has even opened up emergency hay reserves. Now, the original program started back in the 50s, but the Farm Bill of 1985 was the first to establish the Crp program that we know of today. The plan of this program was to stop people from tearing up lands and ground by initially paying them to let people onto their properties and keep them as natural reserves. By doing this, we have helped people keep their lands pure, and most of all, our habitats clean. Lastly, let's dive into irrigation. Irrigation isn't just a silly form of watering plants. Irrigation is a form of watering designed to control the amount of water that goes out into the fields and onto the crops. Without irrigation, the soil can be washed away, plants can be uprooted, and dust can be easily blown around. Now, across the United States, there are nearly 3,000 conservation districts, about one in every county, working to help conserve land, wildlife, water life, and even forest life and other natural resources. By doing this, they also implement farmland and ranching. In the terms of farming, they help with stream erosion by building barriers, keeping the cattle away, and just keeping our streams clear. By doing this, this is only one of the ways they help with water management. And by helping with water management, it's helping us not see the effects of another Dust Bowl. The Dust Bowl of the 1930s could just as easily happen again. But the good thing about today is we have many ways to stop it from reoccurring. We are lucky. But as for some of our great-grandparents and some of our grandparents, they weren't so lucky, and they were faced with hard times. So the next time they start off a story with back in the day or when I was a kid, open up your ears and listen closely to what they have to say. Because the things such as the no-till farming, the Crp program, and irrigation might not even exist if it wasn't for the things that they face. Their knowledge of the past has led to the future of today, and their knowledge of conservation has led to what we know of now. And their conservation has saved us from another Dust Bowl. Thank you.